I took every single workflow in my business: content, research, sales prep, client reporting, operations, all of it, and I handed it to the AI, not as an experiment, as the actual way I run my company. That was 6 months ago. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what happened, what worked, what completely failed, and the one thing AI did that I genuinely did not expect. So let's get into it. So let me set the scene for you. And I run a service business, so there are multiple things that I have to take care of. And this is what I actually replaced. So number one is the content. Now, I have to post content across different platforms such as Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and even Threads. So here you need copywriters, you need reviewers, and you need a full system for scheduling and posting content across different platforms. Two is sales prep or outreach. Now, for every client, you need to manually dig in for analyzing about their industry, their competition, preparing for the pitch. And all of this is a time taking process, at least a couple hours, where you have to put in the manual work to analyze everything and then come up with the best pitch for them. Third is the client reporting, such as ad, you know, the ad metrics, the dashboard numbers, the KPIs, building the spreadsheets for them, writing summaries, all of this, which takes at least 4 to 5 hours per client per week. So the greater the number of clients, the more hours you need to put in. And if you are not doing it yourself, then you have to hire people to do it for you. And the last is the operational infrastructure, which is the SOPs, the onboarding docs, the process flows, templates, and all the boring stuff that you have to do for all the clients. And if you're not doing it, and also for your business, and if you're not doing it, you are in a grave problem, because this is everything for a business. And if your ops is not managed well and it's not tracked well, you cannot survive as a business owner. So this is what running a lean business looked like before AI. Now, let me get into the wins, or let's say what impressed me about AI and what AI did really well. So let's talk about the wins. So, what are the wins with AI and how did it help me with the system? And genuinely, it was shocking. It was not just fast, it was better. Quality was a lot better, and the chances of errors as compared to humans was a lot less. I mean, I sometimes used to make such errors after being overwhelmed. So let's get into it. The content production. From struggling to post consistently because I was busy, or it got off my mind, or I was overwhelmed, or just out of ideas, to posting 10 posts a day across 4 platforms, which means essentially the quality and the quantity went up, because AI doesn't get tired and it does not have off days and it never forgets the brief. So if it is trained well and you have a full infrastructure, you really need not to care about anything, because it just works like you, it just thinks like you, and the content keeps going out every day. So that means you are doing really well with your content across all platforms if it is done right. Then the research speed, competition analysis, really went down from a day to 20 minutes. Now imagine the time being saved there. The prospect research, it went down from 3 hours to 15 minutes. You have to understand that the amount of time you're saving and the quality of work or the output you're getting is insane. The data analysis, it reads ad dashboards daily, it scores against benchmarks, generates reports automatically. So no more I'll check this weekends, because honestly I used to do this as well, because you get overwhelmed or you get lazy and then you try to postpone it. AI does not need to. If you have a system, it just runs daily automated. There's no room for errors, and it gives you concrete data that you can review. And of course, it's a lot faster. And the last one is creating your deliverables, or creating all the SOPs, proposals. So 80% of your heavy lifting or the boring work is being done here. And editing and judgment is still yours. Now, this is what I want to talk about in the next few minutes. But here's what it absolutely crushed, and I was really impressed by the quality that it does. Now, what happens with this is you really save 25 to 30 hours per week. So that's an extra entire work week that you get by just automating this with the system that runs efficiently and does the work really well. And the cost comparison is something that you need to look at. If you look at the human team doing all of this, now it's a question that you can always hire a team, but the cost that we look at, as you can say, is 18K a month if I hire an A quality team for doing the work that I just mentioned, versus the AI stack is just 150 to $200 a month. So I'm saving 17 grand a month. And if I'm running a business that does 50K, saving 17 grand is a lot, right? Now, let's get into what AI completely failed at. Now, if I won't be telling you the failures, I would probably be lying to you, because there are things where AI lacks as well. Number one is the judgment calls. See, AI can research 50 prospects in an hour, right? But it cannot tell which are worth your time, which means it cannot make the judgment that a human would do depending on the situation. So it requires pattern recognition from years of conversation and failed deals, and you as a business owner would know that better. Second, the relationship nuance, which means AI can draft great outreach, but reading the room on the sales call, knowing silence means interest, knowing when to push, when to, step back, all of this comes when you as a human are being, talking to the prospect. So this is where it is important that the human tendencies kicking, which AI certainly lacks. Then comes the strategy. So you need to understand that AI will never say this entire approach is wrong. It won't tell you to fire a client, pivot your offer, or the market is shifted. It has to be done by you as a human who constantly has to research and then think whether or not to make the move, right? Last one is the creative taste. Like, AI can give you 15 options. You need taste to pick the one that matters. Which hook has edge, which angle is overdone versus fresh. This is the human creativity that AI can never ever adopt, which means these are the things where AI lacks. And this is why human intervention is needed. So, what we do is same prospect, but we see what AI sees versus what a human sees. So, as you can see, what AI sees is AI just sees on the surface level, which is revenue, the team size, the industry, content frequency, and all those stuff which are on the surface level. But you, as a human, would see what exactly the person behind that business wants or is going through. And this is important for closing a deal, which is founders sounds burned out in podcast. Someone just lost their VP of sales, responded interesting to a cold DM. All these nuances where only a human can pick and not the AI. So the bottom line is, if you're hoping AI will replace your brain, it won't. If you're hoping it will replace the boring parts so your brain can focus on what matters, that's exactly what it does. So it just helps you replace the boring parts so your brain can focus on what matters the most to increase the productivity. Now, let's come to this question, which is the split. It comes down to one question: does this task require a soul? Which means that AI replaces 70%, but human required 30%, which means you have a combination of 70 is to 30 with the AI system and you are yourself as a human, such as the AI can do the content first drafts and scheduling, and you have to, make the decision on which book is better or which angle should you go ahead with. It can do the research and data gathering, but you have to read the room on calls. So there are differences where the AI can do the surface level works, but there are some nuances that only a human or you as an individual can do. So this is what it looks like, a founder's day before versus after AI, which when I implemented the AI system, this is what shifted. So before AI, it was 12 plus hours. It was burnout by Friday. But after AI, it was 6 focused hours and I could focus on other things and live my life a lot more with freedom. So as you can see here, here's how it would look like. All the manual work that I needed to do and which had room for errors from me as a human was replaced by AI, and AI did a lot of the work which I did not need to do, and I just needed to review stuff where a human intervention was needed. So this is something that I built, which I called an AI replacement scorecard, which what it does, it scores every function on 3 dimensions, which is speed, quality, and judgment. So as you can see, the scorecard is For all the business function, it is mentioned on the metrics such as speed gain, quality impact, and judgment required. So the verdict was, out of all this, 5 of the functions can be operated fully by AI, no needed for human intervention. 3 of them, as you can see, was AI plus human. So AI did the surface level job, but me as a human was needed to make or take few decisions there. But out of these, 2 were human only. So the judgment was high speed plus better quality plus low judgment is full AI. You don't need to hire for it. But high judgment, which is where AI assists and human decides, that is where your time goes. So you're saving bunch of time there. Now, let's move to the compounding effect. Now, you remember I mentioned that there is one thing that really impressed me, which I was not expecting. This was the biggest surprise, the compounding effect, which means it was the compounding knowledge and the ability of AI to learn every time I was running it. So every time I was giving better context, better briefs, it was giving me better results. So comparing the content output on month 0 or month 1 to month 6 now, it has done really well because with over time, it is learning and the quality is becoming better and better with every run. So that makes me understand that better context plus better examples plus better feedback loops is exponentially better output. And the system doesn't plateau. It keeps learning from every correction, which is what you want. With every time you are giving it some sort of prompts or you giving it some sort of context, it is learning and compounding. So the real takeaway is AI didn't replace my team. It made it so I didn't need one at the stage I'm at, which means 70% of my functions are fully automated by AI. 20% of functions are AI assisted, which means it does the job for me, but I just need to review it and assist it. And 10% of the job is what I completely need to do. So for me, the quality has become better and it is a lot more faster and delivered a lot quicker and efficiently, and also gives me a lot more time to actually live my life and not just be burned out after business. So for a lean business doing $1 million a year, AI is the difference between needing 5 people and needing 0. And it's the baseline. It's the most important line in current era. So the line that matters is AI buys you time. It doesn't replace ambition. The operators who understand exactly where AI ends and human begins are building the biggest companies over the next 5 years. And that's the baseline. You really need to understand the synergy. And if you're able to implement the system well and correctly, you do things miraculous. So the scorecards that I just showed you helps you find your line. Every business is different, so the scorecard will differ. And the day I need deep human judgment at scale, I hire without hesitation, which means that when I have got enough on my plate and I am not able to do those 30%, I can just go out and hire someone and it will be still a very lean team and I will be getting a lot more time because those 30% of the work will be done by someone else. So here's the honest answer. After 6 months of running a business almost entirely on AI, AI didn't replace my team. It made it so I don't need one at the stage I'm at. For a lean business doing under $1 million a year, AI is the difference between needing 5 people and needing 0. And that's not a small thing. That's the difference between burning cash on payroll and being profitable from month 1. But here's what I'll also say. The day I need deep human judgment at scale, complex negotiations running simultaneously, or high-touch client management across 20 accounts, I'll hire real people without hesitation. AI buys you time. It doesn't replace ambition, which means that the operators who understand exactly where AI ends and a human beings are, they are building the real businesses or the biggest companies over the next 5 years. So 6 months in, here's my verdict. AI is the best employee I've ever had for everything that doesn't require a soul. And that covers about 70% of running a business. I'm going to keep documenting this. Every system that I build, every failure, every surprise, everything will be documented. So if you want to see what month 12 looks like, hit the subscribe button. Also, the AI replacement scorecard that I mentioned in the video, I am building a free version which you can run for your own business. It just takes 10 minutes. So comment the word scorecard under this video and I'll send you when it's ready. Also comment where you think AI is actually making the move and what can be done better. And I'll personally review all those messages. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button, comment your views and like that video. And I'll see you in the next one.